whose complexion is golden and who is the deliverer of the fallen souls of Kali Yuga, sings as follows, overwhelmed with spiritual ecstasy.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It thoroughly cleanses the mirror of the heart and is the delight of the soul.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It extinguishes the forest fire of material existence and removes all material tribulations.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It appears like the moon in the heart and distributes its cooling moonlight, making the white lotus of the soul's good fortune blossom and bloom. Krishna Kirtan is the Bhakti Vilas, the beautiful pastime of devotion.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It reveals one's pure identity in relationship with the Lord, even up to divine consort. This chanting is the real perfection of life.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna Kirtan causes the ocean of ecstatic joy to overflow. It is the inundation of divine love.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna Kirtan gives one a taste of fully satisfying nectar at every step. Ultimately, it bestows ecstatic love of Godhead.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It bathes the soul of Bhakti Vinod. This chanting is a storehouse of love of God.
Shri Shikshastikam ki jai.
52, page 52.
52.
Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Jiva Goya Gauri.
Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Jiva Goya Gauri.
Svapashada Siya Dhamma Sahaya Vatari. Antanta Dulabha Prema Parivaridhana. Shikaya Sharana Gati Bhakatera Pana.
singer.
Not anything. Can I try number 50? Page 50?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Samsara dava nalida luka Janaya karuna gyana gyanashvam
Samsaradava Nalita Loka
Janaya karuna gyana gyanashvam Vratasya kalyana gunana vasha
Bhaktasya Kalyana Gunana Vasha
Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda
Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda
Mahaprabhu Caitanya-caritāmṛta Aditya Vaja Nala Srila
Mahaprabhu page 122. Nitai pada kamala, Roti chanda sushitala, Jechayai jagata judai. Hari Hari. Then you've got 5 seconds to get over here. regardless.
Does anyone want to recap? Okay. Good morning, Tutti devotee. We are continuing our reading of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and I'm just going to have to familiarise myself with where we're up to because I wasn't here yesterday.
Hi, Keli.
Yeah. I'll put it on myself. No.
Here.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. Oh,
Jai.
Jai. Mahaprabhu's coming. Yeah.
Okay, so Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakti
Jai Jai
Chaitanya, Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaurava Kavrinda.
So we are in Antya-līlā chapter 7.
Oh, Vallabha came to see Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu gave him much honour, and then Mahaprabhu started. Basically, he's in the process of glorifying all the devotees. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Swarup Damodar, Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, and he's going through explaining and how they've all given him Krishna consciousness. Basically, that's
Okay.
basically where we're at.
Wonderful. And then it looks like he's quoting the glories of the love of the gopis.
Yeah, there's been very lots of high slokas, quotes from the 10th canto of Bhagavatam.
Who is quoting?
Mahaprabhu.
Okay.
To Vallabha.
So we'll start from text 45. All glory to Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki
Jai.
Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai,
Jai.
Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Ashwarya Dhyana Haite Kevala Bhava Pradhana Prittivite Bhakta Nahi Udava Samana. Completely distinct, so this is Mahaprabhu quoting again. Completely distinct from love of Krishna in opulence, pure love of Krishna is on the highest level. On the surface of the world there is no devotee greater than Uddhava. Tenadyad Padadili Karina Pradhana Sarupera Sange Pailun Esava Shikshana. Uddhava desires to take on his head the dust of the gopis' lotus feet. I have learned about all these transcendental... Why is this? Okay, because this is not written. Uddhava desires to take on his head the dust of the gopis' lotus feet. I have learned about all these transcendental loving affairs of Lord Krishna from Swarup Damodar. So that was actually, that verse was Mahaprabhu speaking. And then from the Bhagavatam, Asamho Charanarenu Jusham Ahamsham Vrindavani Kimapi Gulma Lato Shadinam Yadushadam Svajanam Aryapatam Chahitva Bejo Mukunda Padavim Shruti Bevim Ripyam. The gopis of Vrindavan have given up the association of their husbands, sons, and other family members, who are very difficult to give up, and they have forsaken the path of chastity to take the shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, Krishna, which one should search for by Vedic knowledge. Oh, let me be fortunate enough to become one of the bushes, creepers, or herbs in Vrindavan, for the gopis trample them and bless them with the dust of their lotus feet. And there's a little purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Uddhava. When Uddhava was sent by Krishna to see the condition of the gopis in Vrindavan. He stayed there for a few months in their association and always talked with them about Krishna. Although this greatly pleased the gopis and other residents of Brajabhumi, Vrindavan, Uddhava saw that the gopis were severely afflicted by their separation from Krishna. Their hearts were so disturbed that their minds were sometimes deranged. Observing the unalloyed devotion and love of the gopis for Krishna, Uddhava desired to become a creeper, a blade of grass, or a herb in Vrindavan, so that sometimes the gopis would trample him and he would receive the dust of their lotus feet on his head. And then Mahaprabhu continues, Haridasa Thakur Mahabhagavata Pradana Pratidina Layatena Tina Lakshanama. Haridas Thakur, the teacher of the holy name, is the most exalted of all pure devotees. Every day he chants 300,000 holy names of the Lord. Namera Mahima Ami Tanna Tani Sikilun Tanna Prasari Namera Mahima Janilun. I have learned about the glories of the Lord's holy name from Haridas Thakur, and by his mercy I have understood these glories. Then he's quoting, doesn't say from where. No he's not. Acharya Ratna Acharya Nidhi Pandina Gadadhara Jagannanda Damodara Sankara Vakreshvara Kashishvara Mukunda Vasudeva Murari Aradhata Bhakta Gana Gode Avatari Krishna Nama Prema Kaila Jagate Prachara Ina Sabara Sange Krishna Bhakti Jay Amara. Acharya Ratna Acharya Nidhi Gadadhara Pandit Jagadananda Damodar Shankar Vakeshvara Kashishvara Mukunda Vasudev Murari and many other devotees have descended in Bengal to preach to everyone the glories of the holy name of Krishna and the value of love for him. I have learned from them the meaning of devotional service to Krishna. And then Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami continues. Bhattira Hridaya Drita Abhimana Jani Bhangikari Mahaprabhu Kahe Etavani. Knowing that Vallabha Bhatta's heart was full of pride, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke these words, hinting at how one can learn about devotional service. Ami se Vaishnava Bhakti Siddhanta Savajani Ami se Bhagavata Ata Uttama Vakani. Vallabha Bhatta was thinking, I am a great Vaishnava. Having learned all the conclusions of Vaishnava philosophy, I can understand the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam and explain it very well. Bhattira manete e chila diga gava prabhura vachana shuni se haila karva. Such pride had existed for a long time within the mind of Vallabha Bhatta. But as he heard the preaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his pride was cut down. Pabura mukhe Vaishnavata Shuniya Sabara Bhattira Icha Hailatan Sabare Dakibara. When Vallabha Bhatta heard from the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about the pure Vaishnavism of all these devotees, he immediately desired to see them.
It just reminds me, I've heard the story, so maybe someone knows it better. Gurudev was at some gathering and there was some scholarly guy who knew everything, and he was, oh yes, I've got this PhD in this and I've got that and I've done this and I've done that and I know this and I know that. No, he's sort of extolling his own glories. And then after he'd finished, then Gurudev was like, oh yes, I'm just a simple village boy and I just grew up in a very simple life, but my Guru Maharaj has given me some mercy. And then he starts, free flowing with his shlokas, and then the more that Gurudev spoke, the more this guy's, you could see his ego was just going down and down, and he was like understanding what the presence of whose presence he was in, you know, like because Gurudev of course was always so humble, but then that like Mahāprabhu has just got this flow of nectar coming out, and then Vallabha's understanding, oh okay, right, this is, I may know the whole Bhagavatam, but there's some other substance which is beyond knowledge. You know.
And a beautiful way to be adjusted, right? By hearing the glories of the Vaishnavas, not being told you need to take it down a bit. Like actually just glorifying the Vaishnavas, and automatically we feel like, wow, I'm so insignificant. I'm so small. They're so great. Like it's such a sweet way to be adjusted. And then Vallabha says, Bhattakahe e sabha Vaishnava rohe konstane, kon prakare paimu ihan sabara darshane. Vallabha said, where do all these Vaishnavas live, and how can I see them? Prabhu kahe, keha gore keha dashantare, sabha aye, thank you. Sabe asya chirata yata dekibare. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, although some of them live in Bengal and some in other states, they have all come here to see the Rath Yatra festival. Ihani rahena sabe vashananastane, ihani paiba tumi sabaradashane. At present they are all living here. Their residences are in various quarters. Here you will get the audience of them all. Tabe Bhattakahe bahu vinaya vachana bahu Caitanya-caritāmṛta kaila nimantrana. Thereafter, with great submission and humility, Vallabha invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to dine at his home. Aradina Sabha Vaishnava Prabhu Stane Aila Sabha Sane Mahaprabhu Bhate Milaila. The next day, when all the Vaishnavas came to the abode of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord introduced Vallabha to them all. Vaishnavera tete deki batera chamatkara, tansavara age bata kadyota akara. He was surprised to see the brilliance of their faces. Indeed, among them, Vallabha seemed just like a glowworm. Okay. Tabe bata bahu mahaprasada anaila gana sahama prabhure bojana karaila. Then Vallabha brought in a great quantity of Lord Jagannath's Mahaprasadam and sumptuously fed Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. So now it's going to maybe we pause there. So he's going to take prasadam, and then he's going to introduce Vallabha to all the devotees. Should we pause there? Okay. Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai. Srila Krishna's Dev-Goswami ki jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. So, continuing search for Sri Krishna, reality the beautiful, by His divine grace, Srila Bhakti Raksak, Srila Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki jai. And this chapter is called Fossilism versus Subjective Evolution. The following chapter is an excerpt from a conversation between Srila Maharaj and a neurophysiologist, Dr. Daniel Murphy, PhD. Darwin has given the theory of evolution, fossilism. Vedanta has given subjective evolution. In Darwin's theory of objective evolution, matter evolves consciousness. The object first, and by its development, life is coming. Consciousness is coming from stone. That is objective evolution. But an object is a relative term. Without the subject, an object cannot stand. The subject is the primary substance. Whatever is to be felt is only an idea in the subjective ocean. So, the subject, consciousness, is first. The object, the gross, proceeds from the subtle. So, basically, Guru Maharaj is saying that there's two theories of evolution. One is Darwin's theory of evolution of everything originated from the fossil, and then there's the Vedantic theory or expression that consciousness exists first, and then from there matter manifests. Yeah. The subject is the primary substance. The subject, consciousness, is first. The object, the gross, proceeds from the subtle. When a particular potency is handled by Krishna in his form as Mahavishnu, then the material energy begins to move and produce something. The first product is a general ego. Then, gradually, so many plural individual egos emanate from the general ego. The experience of this world develops from ego. When ego contacts the mode of ignorance, form is produced. When ego contacts the mode of ignorance, form is produced. When it contacts the mode of goodness, the sun and light are produced. When false ego comes in connection with these three modes of nature, a division takes place, and the objects of the senses, the material senses, and the power of sense perception are generated. So it's very clear, but we just need to take one little bit at a time, and he builds from. Okay, so when ego contacts the mode of ignorance, form is produced. When it contacts the mode of goodness, the sun and light are produced. When false ego comes in connection with these three modes of nature, a division takes place, and the objects of senses, the material senses, and the power of the sense perception are generated. So, from the subtle, the gross is coming. The ghost of Darwin. That is Vedantic evolution. But the Darwin theory says that from the gross, the subtle is coming. At present, people are fond of the Darwin theory that stone produces consciousness. Darwin's objective evolution has swallowed us. Although externally we reject it, we hate it, still the ghost of Darwin's theory has devoured everyone. Meaning our science has accepted that, and then the way that we're moving in this world is all rooted in that. So it means we're swallowed by that. Therefore, it is difficult to make them understand that consciousness is more valuable than stone. It is easy for consciousness to produce stone. It is difficult for stone to produce consciousness. Consciousness is more valuable. Stone is less valuable. So a more valuable thing can produce a less valuable thing. But it is difficult to explain how a less valuable thing can produce something more valuable. Fossil fathers. The material scientists think that the subtle proceeds from the gross. This is upside down. It is just the opposite. Not fossil fatherism, but God fatherism. Their theory is fossil fatherism. The fossil is the father of everyone. The scientists believe that everything moves upward. This is incorrect. It is coming down. This is described in Bhagavad Gita 15, chapter 15, verse 1. Udva mulam udashakam asvatam prabhu avyayam chadam si yasya panani yastam veda savedavit. The tree of this material world has its roots upward, while its branches extend downward. The leaves of this tree are the Vedic hymns. One who understands this tree and its origin is the true knower of the Vedas. So, according to Vedic knowledge, everything moves from up to down, not from down to up. Matter does not produce the soul. Rather, the soul contains in its one negligible portion the conception of matter. Like an eczema, it is a disease. This world exists like an eczema in a wholesome body. This is the Vedantic understanding. It would certainly be a wonderful miracle if stone could produce the soul, but it is easier and more reasonable for us to think that the soul has produced the conception of stone. In the soul, there are many conceptions, and one conception is that of stone. It is all in the plane of consciousness. But that stone can produce soul or consciousness is difficult, ridiculous, inconceivable, and unreasonable. But until it's pointed out, we can miss these things. Like, it's very logical, but until it's said, we can just be in our own illusion thinking all kinds of things. Rather, it is the opposite, something like the Berkeley theory, that the world is in the mind, and not that the mind is in the world. It is only our deviation from the truth that brings us into this mundane world. How and where that deviation begins is to be thought out. But deviation from the truth has brought us to this false area. So consciousness is producing everything. Consciousness is eternal. This world is not eternal. This is a temporary production, and the temporary stone cannot produce eternal consciousness. Pure consciousness is an eternal subject, nitya sanatana. It is not a product, it is productive. Ether can produce fire and earth, but the earth cannot produce ether. The subtle is more efficient than the gross. The gross is of secondary importance. The soul Atma, is of principal importance. The origin of everything must be conscious. The starting point must begin with the interested party. The soul is endowed with interest, but a stone has no interest, plan, or project. Nothing of the kind. But there is a plan and a purpose pervading everything, and that is the important thing. According to that consideration, the characteristic of the Absolute, the original substance, should be calculated. An object of limited attributes and capacity cannot be the ultimate cause. Only a thing of unlimited quality and capacity should be taken as the cause of the whole. That is a more reasonable idea. Science should realize this. So there are some who think that science is gradually trying to meet philosophy.
Yeah, keep going.
We can pause there because he's still, this point is continuing.
Small doses.
Can you just reread the last sentence or two?
Yeah. Only a thing of unlimited quality and capacity should be taken as the cause of the whole. That is a more reasonable idea. Science should realize this. So there are some who think that science is gradually trying to meet philosophy. Because what is a thing of unlimited quality? Then we start to get into having to consider that there is something beyond this plane. Beyond the physical, tangible nature of this plane. Anyhow, it's clear. Even though it's wordy, it's clear, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's just that last point that I caught about the infinite. It's like that everything is created from an infinite source, rather than the infinite is being created. Like, it's like they're just finding a point and starting from there and going, oh, infinity starts from this point, but infinity was beyond whatever point that you want to select as the starting point. Infinity was already existing at that point. So it has to be that infinity is the starting point, not that there is some other starting point within infinity.
Yeah, I mean, and we talk about we need faith to understand the infinite, the Lord, but then again, it's very logical to at least make a starting point. It's not, like he says, it's not unreasonable. Anyways, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Who would like to sing?
Hari Haraya Namah Krishnaya Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishnaya Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Giridhari Gopinath Namaha.
Giridhari Gopinath Namaha.
Chaitanya Nityananda
Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Raksak Srila Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guravaga ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki Jai. Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai. Shri Vallabha Bhaṭṭa Goswami, Vallabha Bhaṭṭa Prabhu ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Brahmanande Hari Hari Bol.
And we want to remind everyone that tomorrow is Srila Gurudev's Appearance Day festival. So we'll be celebrating tomorrow midday. Everyone is welcome. Please come and join us in glorifying our Gurudev. Big festival tomorrow.
Jai.
Jai
And
Srila
all around the
Gurudev.
world.
Yes. Jai Srila